Welcome everybody to Ballers and Briefs Week 9 Fantasy Football and DFS Outlook. As you guys can all
One step
see,
closer.
we are down a man. Sending little thoughts and prayers out to our buddy DFS Phil. He is at home with a sick kid and he's sick. So
I
we
know how
hope
that
that
goes.
speedy recovery, buddy. So yeah, so as you guys can see, a little bit of themage today. Dia de los Muertos. I'm happen to be here in Mexico right now, so actually doing the full on celebration. So it's been a pretty cool experience. So if you guys ever have the chance to do something like this, you should do it. You should do it.
I'm loving the vibes back there. You can feel it a little bit. It's coming through the screen.
Yeah, it's straight nothing but love right now. So but yeah, so let's just, I guess what we can just pop straight into what we came for. A little bit of action here. First game on the docket. Let's go straight into the
Get
the one I
into
think
it.
everybody is looking forward to. Tua back against the Bills in Buffalo. 49.5 is over under. What's your first gut reaction here, Brad?
I definitely like the over in this one. I just think that with Tua kind of coming back this second week, seeing as what they were able to put up last week, in addition to what the Bills have been able to do sort of over the course of the year, I just really like this over. I do see a shootout here. I know last week, I believe in Tua's comeback, Devin A. Chain got, I believe, over 20 plus fantasy points. And even though he's on my team, it's a little biased, but I do believe I see him having a really good game as well in this matchup. I think as they continue to ease Tua back into this lineup, I just think that those easy checkdowns to the running backs, short routes to the tight ends are going to be able to kind of open up the game plan. So then that way they can make the deep routes. Also, Mostert's been able to carry the ball pretty well since the comeback as well. So those various factors just really make me feel that this 49.5 is definitely an over I will want to take. And I just like this matchup. I love the rivalry. And I just see this being a high score gaming.
It was 50 and it's changed now down to 49.5. But so that half a point's kind of fluctuated here and there a little bit. So I don't disagree any whatsoever, but the weird thing is both of these teams are pretty good against the quarterback, but I think that shit goes all out the window when it's Miami and Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
both of them kind of have a decent game against the, but I can see this is Josh Allen trying to put his stamp, sign, seal, deliver here on the AFC East, especially now that obviously they're in first place. And then out of some luck or just my Texans just not playing worth the shit, the Jets getting a win on Thursday, and now it don't look so bad, right? So they were like 2-6, and now they're 3-6 or whatever they are, and that's really only like 3 games out, and they still have to play Buffalo at least one more time and Miami one more time, and I think Buffalo is the only team that they have left on their schedule that has a winning record at this point. So this is the chance for Buffalo to either like separate themselves totally from the rest of the 3, or Miami to kind of make that, okay, we're steadily in the race too. Don't forget about us. We got our guy back. We've still got Tyreek Hill. We've still got Jalen Waddle. We still got the plethora of running backs.
Yep.
With Achane and Mostert and Wright, whoever else they decide to run the ball with that week. So, and the defense is not terrible. I mean, it's not a terrible defense whatsoever. They have some good corners like Ramsey, he's sometimes, like he's real good sometimes and he's real bad sometimes, I feel like, at this point in his career. So
a little bit more roller coaster than it is consistency with Jalen Ramsey. But I guess that a little bit of that kind of leads into feeling that Keon Coleman tomorrow might have a pretty good matchup. Not necessarily against Jalen Ramsey himself, but just the defense of overall of the Dolphins. He's had 3 fantasy games over 15 plus points. He's really working into the offense. Multiple games with at least 5+ targets. And I think he's really starting to kind of find that chemistry with Josh Allen tomorrow. So I'm really interested in kind of seeing what he's going to do against this Dolphins matchup. But I think it's going to be a good one. I just see the trajectory is kind of slowly starting to go up, which makes sense for the rookie receiver. And again, this matchup sets up well.
He is the highest owned wide receiver for the Bills. Obviously, it's only like 5%, but I like the. I mean, I'm not Phil, but like I like the Bills wide receivers in this matchup because I said both of these teams are good against the quarterback. They're not so great actually against the wide receivers. So like with on the opposite side of the ball, Tyreek Hill is like the second highest owned wide receiver on the slate right now. So and a little bit of injury stuff right now is like for the Dolphins, River Craycraft. Obviously, he's like number 5 on the depth chart, but River's always kind of one of those guys that might come in and steal your points.
Sneaky guy.
He's more of the showdown type, ruin your slate. Questionable. Yep. The guy I said last week with the coolest name in the NFL, Storm Duck. Questionable with an ankle injury. Backup tight end Julian Hill out with a shoulder. Javon Holland, so he's their number 1 safety. Back. Yeah, so he's doubtful with a hand and a knee injury. Alec Ingold, the fullback, so he's in on a lot of the plays actually, especially run plays. They love to utilize that fullback, so he's questionable, but he looks like he's going to play. Kader Kohu, the other corner, out with a neck injury, and then Zach Seiler, the defensive tackle, pass rusher guy, he is out with an eye injury. So that's some beat up people there on the Dolphins. The Dolphins defense there that makes me like that Keon Coleman a little bit more with a little bit of Amari Cooper thrown in. I know Amari Cooper has been questionable, but he was limited in practice, so I think he's going to play with that wrist injury that he's had. So keep that in mind. But no one's going to him. Like the ownership's not there. So because what I was looking right now, his ownership, Amari Cooper's, is less than 3%. So that's liable to change tomorrow once the Q tag drops off. But he's only 5,800, man. Like, if he's playing, I think that I want a little bit of exposure to him, just for the simple fact of the matter of.
I agree.
Yeah, Keon Coleman is 5,400, Khalil Shakir is 5,900, and Amari Cooper is 5,800. And these guys are sub 5% ownership right now in DraftKings. So people are seeing, I guess, maybe the corner. Obviously, they're seeing the Jalen Ramsey factor, but he can't cover 3. He can't cover 3 guys. So that's something that to keep in mind.
Yeah, I also like Cook tomorrow.
He's only 5% on too.
Watch out for Cook tomorrow. Just after giving the injuries that you're saying, plus with the little hurt Holland coming in, I just think that also lends definitely a good matchup for Cook coming off the ground as well. I believe he's had 3+ games of at least 20+ points this year. And it just seems like he's really kind of starting to find his groove into the offense. There is that pass potential with him. They use him in the screen game. Fan perspective, it's always nice to have that running back who also is going to get you those extra points with the catches out of the backfield. That's going to kind of separate you in your season long. So you definitely want to kind of target those type of players, and also in your daily fantasy.
He was in week 2. He was 11 for 78, 2 touchdowns. And he had 28.5 fantasy points. So that might tell you something. The defense there, the rush defense, isn't the greatest. So it's also somebody to get a good look at. And then obviously you're gonna want HN obviously in season long for sure. Don't be surprised if Mostert eats up some too. So that's a good play too. So, but I think honestly, like you said, I think this could be one of those that goes over, like you said, but I think the Bills win this going away for sure at home. It's at home, so
I like the Bills. Bills Mafia is going to be going strong. They're going to be excited. This rivalry always gets them pumped up anyway, so it's definitely going to be a good game. Just from a casual, football perspective, I think this is one you should definitely tune in if you get the time tomorrow.
Yeah, and just so anybody that's new into the chat, yeah, what we'll do is if you have questions, ask them. Give us as much detail as you can about your team, and then we will get to the questions after we make it through the slate of games that we're talking about. So just keep that in mind. So the next game, let's move on right along. Is there's something that's changed a little bit since I looked at them this morning. But the next game is 52 points, man. It's Dallas and Atlanta. I do not know. They're saying that both of these teams are going to just blow the water off each other, I guess.
Yeah, I like this matchup tomorrow as well. Again, with the over, you've seen Kirk Cousins really starting to find himself within the offense. Just kind of coming back from that injury. He's actually playing a lot better than you would expect from someone. Again, kind of coming off of an injury at his age. But I really like this from a sort of Atlanta more so Dak perspective. I just think that with Dak kind of coming back, he's had a couple of rocky games, but I do also like this matchup for him, just for the fact that I know he's kind of had some rough games in the past, but this matchup from a defensive standpoint lends to him also having a good game. And I think this is what Vegas is seeing here, which is why you have this 52-point total that if someone's going to win, they're going to win this game with a lot of points scored. And so, again, also like
3-point favorite Atlanta is, by the way, 24.5 for Dallas and 27.5 by Atlanta.
And in this matchup specifically, I really like London tomorrow. I just think from the he's kind of due for one of those kind of big games, kind of to hit the slate type of thing. We haven't kind of seen him in a little bit, and I just think this matchup really sets up well for him.
I'm about to tell you why it's even better. So no Deron Bland for Dallas. Trayvon Diggs is questionable, did not practice on Friday. So he might not play. No Linval Joseph, the defensive tackle, questionable with a back injury. Eric Kendricks, questionable with a shoulder injury. Zach Martin, the guard, questionable with the shoulder. These guys, the last three all were limited in practice, but they will be without Micah Parsons and Jordan Phillips. So defensive line help they won't have. And then Nick Vigil, their backup running back. So is
I think
out.
Your mic was breaking up a little bit there, Cody.
Oh, okay. So it's questionable with a foot injury. It's probably the internet. So, and then for Atlanta,
I think you might want to run that a little bit back there, just make sure everyone heard that one, because I didn't hear it come through.
So no Deron Bland. Trayvon Diggs is questionable with a calf injury, and he didn't practice on Friday. Linval Joseph, the defensive tackle, was questionable. Eric Kendricks, linebacker, questionable. Zach Martin, the guard, questionable. No Micah Parsons, no Jordan Phillips, and a questionable Nick Vigil, backup linebacker. So, yes. Did you get those?
With the injuries that you have out there, it definitely sets up for that.
And then on Atlanta, they might get Troy Anderson, the linebacker, back that Phil cursed into existence with that knee injury. JB Bertrand, linebacker's out with a concussion. Drew Dowman, the center, is questionable with the ankle. Chris Lindstrom, their guard, questionable with a knee, but was limited in practice. And defensive end Rook Orho. Dude, that name is hard as hell to say. Out with an ankle injury. So they see that there is nobody to defend the pass. And what does Kirk Cousins do? He just wings the ball. So I think that sets up exactly why this is 27.5 to Atlanta. I mean, they're giving them obviously the 3-point advantage at home, but that's a rough stretch right there without them, and already Dallas is poor against the pass. I mean, and this might be a game where you might want to get Kirk Cousins in here because he's less than 5% owned himself, and it's Dallas's
I was
defense is
just thinking the exact same thing.
he's beat up. Drake London is the
I was thinking the
second.
exact same thing. He just came off of a 4-touchdown performance, so he's definitely going to be willing to sling it. And this matchup sets up again for him to potentially kind of do the same thing in this performance, repeat that, bring it back. I think if you match him tomorrow in the daily fantasy, maybe him with the London, maybe even kind of come back in this matchup. You can't go wrong. Maybe even with a sort of a tight end there for the Dallas, maybe sort of backup running back for Dallas, kind of sort of a little bit different there in order to kind of daily.
Yeah, so Jake Ferguson's a good option here because Atlanta's not the greatest against the tight end. I like Kyle Pitts too. But if you're trying to get off, I mean, Drake London is one of those guys you might want to eat the chalk on tomorrow. But if you want to get off the chalk with Drake London and pair Kirk Cousins, let's just say you want to double stack Kirk Cousins with Kyle Pitts or maybe Bijan, but he's kind of chalk too. He's like 17% ownership. But if you got off that chalk, come down here to Darnell Mooney. He's 5% owned, and his ceiling is basically through the roof without any Dallas. And you could bring it back with CD. I mean, CD's only 14% owned. I guess he's the fourth highest owned wide receiver, but who else do they have to throw to? Jalen Tolbert.
That's it. Yep.
Ferguson. I'm not touching any of those running backs there in Dallas at all. I don't. That's just awful.
Was it Ezekiel Elliott not traveling? So then I guess it definitely kind of lends to at least was that Rico Dowdle.
And
in this matchup. And I just think it's sort of someone, you want to get a little different here. Maybe it's a pullback if you're going to kind of spend a little bit more on your Cousins, maybe your Pitts and your London, to kind of bring it back with someone different that might get a lot of dump down passes tomorrow. I just kind of see it being that type of a game for Dak. It's not going to a CD, but outside of that, sort of the other receivers sort of in the passing game, how are they going to kind of react to the game flow?
Yeah, that's 100%. I mean, I think Atlanta gets this game too at home. I personally don't think it gets to 52. For some reason, something tells me that Dallas doesn't put up the amount of points that Vegas thinks they will, just because I just feel like Dallas is just I don't know. I feel like Dallas is on their last leg at this point. So
you think it's imploding a little bit?
There's no run game, obviously, and Dak can't carry a team. CeeDee Lamb feels about like he's halfway playing half the time. So I don't know. I think Atlanta wins this. I think Atlanta just is set up better. I think Kirk Cousins is obviously a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. They just got better weapons, and at this point, their defense is better. Without Micah Parsons, with a halfway Trayvon Diggs, it isn't the same. Like you got the two good safeties, Simmons and who's the other safety there? Damn. No, I went blank. Simmons in the back in the back, and then what's it? I'm just blank. I just drawing blanks on all. AJ Terrell, the corner, finally got his first like interception in multiple years, I think, last week or whatever it was. So I think Atlanta wins this. So I think you got to get some exposure. You got to get exposure to Atlanta players tomorrow. And like I said, Drake London is probably that guy you need to eat the chalk on, it's beat up. If Trayvon Diggs is halfway beat up or he doesn't play at all, you definitely have to play him. So
Yeah, I like Kirk Cousins with matching him with a London or a Pitts, and again, kind of bringing it back with someone kind of secondary from CeeDee Lamb tomorrow if you're going to do sort of a dead fantasy perspective. But I also like in this matchup, I like Atlanta tomorrow. I just think they're really against find that groove. I think with the kind of win here over the Cowboys, they can kind of really start to kind of see them kind of separate themselves, and they're in a division where they can, really contend. So I'm excited to kind of see Kirk Cousins again kind of come back from an injury really strong, just find themselves.
Yeah. So let's hop on over to the next one. The not so bad Los Angeles Rams at Seattle. 48 points. It moved I think a half a point this morning. Man, it's crazy that this division is in flux the way that it is, and these teams are all within like a game and a half or something like that of one another. Now the Rams were supposedly going to go on a fire sale, but they won that game against Minnesota, put themselves back in a contention in the NFC West, and now all of a sudden we've got a like almost kind of Thanos with the Infinity Stones. He's like Matthew Stafford's got his guys all back, so
that's what it is pretty much. You start to see the vision, and you can start to see the offense more, the way it was intended to be when they built it. When you see, Cooper Kupp, and you see sort of you see all of those players all together, it's hard to really showcase sometimes the best skills of all the players, especially the quarterback. Sometimes, we blame them a lot of times when things go wrong, but it's difficult when you're playing.
Yeah.
Number 3 receiver, backup receivers that I've had before.
So the main injuries for the Rams, obviously Cam Curl, their safety, is questionable with a knee injury, but he was limited in practice. They have a punter that's out. Neville Gallimore, the defensive tackle, is out with a shoulder injury. I just did see that Puka was questionable. He didn't practice on Friday, but according to all things check this in the morning but up until right now, he's going to play with that knee injury. So that knee that he's had issues with is kind of reared its head again. Their tackle Joe
to the fantasy league folks, you might just want to start him. Don't get done like me and leave, your Lad McConkey on the bench for you, and then he ends up scoring 30 points.
Yeah, so just pay attention to like the last minute. Like just like you need to be looking at this and 90 minutes before game time. That 4:25 window, unless you have somebody that you know exactly is going to go off in that front window, or after that, you need to probably have him in and just make sure like 90 minutes before the game to pull him out. Jordan Whittington, their rookie wide receiver, questionable the shoulder injury, limited in practice, but keep in mind if he plays and Puka doesn't, that boosts Jordan Whittington up. So and then Charles Woods, cornerback, questionable, did not practice with a toe injury. And then for the Seahawks, they will be without Noah Fant, groin injury. Ernest Jones, the linebacker they just got from the Titans, questionable with a neck injury. Abraham Lucas, their tackle, at least a right tackle, out with a knee injury. DK is out with a knee injury. And then Cam Young, their defensive tackle, is out with a knee injury. So there you go. So if you're DK owners, it might be time to make sure that you have someone to fill in the void, because I don't know, man. DK is not living up to what I expected DK to live up to in his career. He's been good, but I don't know. Fantasy wise, I feel like my life is in his hands too often.
Well, I think in this instance, with Geno, he hasn't been playing as he was the last, as his performances kind of slipped a little bit from where he was last year.
Highest owned quarterback on the slate, though. Geno is, by the way.
Not putting up as many sort of yards as he was. And it's funny that you say that, because I actually kind of see this one kind of going underneath the 48 point total there. I see that going under. I just think that given the injuries that you have there with sort of no DK, I just wonder are they able to sort of find enough offense against a Rams team that knows them in the division rivalry game in order for this to go over that 48-point total. So a lot of times you can kind of get away with matchups where, you know, you don't necessarily see them all the time. But this matchup feels a little bit more that it's going to play lower, play a little bit more defensive again, because both teams kind of know each other, familiar with the personnel a little bit more, kind of build their teams to kind of go against this personnel. And so I see that happening in this matchup.
And so just a quick thought here that both of the teams, Kenny Walker he's 10% owned, so the Rams are kind of mid of the road against the run. But on the other side of the ball, it's kind of weird that Kyron is 16% owned, so the Seahawks are kind of in the bottom end against the run. And then you've got guys like one of our guys we call names a lot in wide receiver world for Seahawks is JSN. He's 9% owned, so he's probably going to be essentially wide receiver 1, but he's not getting like last season. He was, even with DK being out last week, he didn't get the actual targets that we thought he would, but maybe he does against a mediocre Rams team, and this is a division game, and obviously everyone's seeing that Geno is going to carve up the Rams, I guess. Then you got Lockett and Jake Bobo both at just under 8%. But a guy I like the best, I think, if I'm going to someone in this on the Seahawks team, is AJ Barner, their tight end. The dude just looks the freaking part. Like, he just looks the part. He catches the ball.
Yep.
He may not get the targets, but the Rams are terrible against the tight end. They're the third worst team against the tight end. And this dude is right over 5% owned. So I like him. He's a good, like I say, he's a big guy. He's a big body, and Geno likes to throw to the tight end. So, and I think they like to scheme the tight end up as well. So that's a guy that I look at tomorrow, and he's cheap. Like, he's 2,600 on DraftKings. So, and he's only 5% owned. That's possible to go up in the morning, but keep that in mind if you're looking for that. And then obviously Coop and Puka and Colby Parkinson is down there. The Seahawks are also bad against the tight end, so it could be a Colby Parkinson type game, especially if it's a banged up Puka Nacua. So keep him in your these are DFS now. If you're running for season long, I don't know if I'm running out Colby Parkinson. I did that for a couple weeks when Puka and Cooper Kupp were out, and then you needed a tight end to fill the void. But I don't know if he's worth, maybe in a really, really deep league, but not. I don't think he's in anything less than 12. You're not worrying about him. So
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I just think, just like you were saying, I like Coop here. He got 8 targets last week. I just see it definitely that ticking up, and more targets for Coop means definitely a lot of production. And I just like it again against this matchup where I think they'll have a few more opportunities on the offense. I think that again the Seahawks might struggle a little bit. Just trying to find their rhythm. Again against a defensive foe that they know with no DK. I just think again that hinders. It brings the point totals down a little bit. But again, I think Coop, he's more production based. Even if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's okay, because you know he's high volume. He's going to get you potentially, if the matchup sets up, potentially 10 catches, 100 yards. So from a season long, of course, that's what you want to do. That's what the type of performance you're needing. But I know with him being out, sometimes it's get a little worried. But I think this matchup sets up well for him.
Yeah, you just need both teams to score points here, and this is what we're looking for. So the like I said, the ownership's there, so he's down at the bottom. I actually think that the Rams are going to win this ball game, no matter if Puka Nacua plays or not. It's actually 1.5. It's only 1.5 points. They're 1.5 point favorites on the road, so
I'm taking it. I like the Rams as well. I think Stafford does enough with Cooper, just what they're bringing from the offensive perspective. I like it tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Let's move on to the final game we have on the slate here. This NFC North, just I don't know, even though I mean obviously the Rams won before, coming in with a banged up Jordan Love. The I'm just going to put it out there now. I think the Rams win. I mean the Rams, excuse me, the Lions win this ball game. But here is some injury information. Defensive tackle Broderick Martin out with a knee. Josh Pascal, the defensive end, out with an illness. Malcolm Rodriguez, he's a backup linebacker, out with an ankle injury. And then third string, maybe fourth string running back Sione Vaki out doubtful with a knee, and Meki Wingo, defensive tackle, doubtful with an ankle. Now, if Phil was here, he would be popping all over this. His man Jair Alexander is questionable and did not practice on Friday with a knee injury. And then the other corner, Corey Ballantyne, questionable with an ankle injury and was limited in practice. Josh Jacobs is questionable, was limited in practice with an ankle injury. Jordan Love, questionable with that groin. Josh Myers, their center, out or doubtful with a wrist injury. And then safety Evan Williams out with a hamstring injury. So here it is. That's obviously why the Rams. I keep saying the Rams. The Lions are 2.5-point favorites on the road at Lambeau. And they just put up a shit ton of points. Like they just bully people to death.
This Lions team is definitely playing stronger. Yeah, I like this matchup as well. I think the Lions are definitely playing strong. Whereas in the previous matchup, I wasn't necessarily sure about the totals. I do like this going over the 47.5, more so because I like what the Lions are doing. They seem to really kind of found a groove offensively. I believe that offensive line ranks up there. Pro Football Focus is one of the top offensive lines in the NFL. And when you go, I believe you said this is the road there, Cody.
What'd you say?
You want to bring a strong offense along with you, because you're going to want to bring that run game in order to win those style games no matter what. If you go on the road, they always tell you you definitely want to bring that run game, and that's what the Lions are able to do. I love the physicality. I did remember the injury from Zaire just watching the Jags game. And the way it came down, it was sort of a non-contact injury, and sometimes those are the worst ones as far as for the severity of the injury. So with the hobbled Jair Alexander, the Jaguars were able to move the ball those last two drives against the Packers pretty consistently with even backup receivers and backup running backs at the time, because we had a lot of injuries. And so again, that makes me feel if you're wanting to kind of get different tomorrow, try out Tim Patrick. I know he's only got a few handful of catches here and there, but he just seems like he's kind of due for a kind of a big game. This kind of seems like this sets up well again with kind of injuries in the secondary.
And I'm wrong. I've literally thought that they had played already, but I guess maybe I kind of merged the when they played Minnesota together with, because both of them have played Minnesota. But no, they have not played each other yet. But the thing with that being said is Green Bay, the Detroit is second against wide receivers, so they are a really good pass defending team with Arnold and Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. Those dudes that's a pretty good secondary. So keep that in mind when you're trying to, if you're looking, this is one of those weeks that I think it's just fair to say that it's probably could be not, I'm not looking at, I agree with the ownership down here at 1.5% on Jordan Love, especially kind of being banged up. I don't think you go there. So I don't think that you worry about having to pick and choose. I think if you're looking to get in this game, you're getting you're getting some exposure to Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I think that the people to get exposure to, and it's probably Amon-Ra, that, or it might be Sam Laporta, because Sam Laporta did great last week, and the Packers aren't that good against the tight end. So I think this is
how you doing, Fresh?
You're looking for them. So what's up, Fresh? Appreciate you hopping in, bro.
Appreciate all the love.
I see that. Yeah, that's a good strategy right there. This is something. This is kind of the stuff that we talk about. Khalif Raymond with the Detroit defense, double points. It's great double points. So, but yeah, I think neither one of the quarterbacks, they like them here. It's just that I think that this game is going to play to that NFC North type standard, and it could be a barn burner, or it could be just slow and like, what am I watching? I think we even said, though, like when Detroit played Minnesota, that Minnesota was going to have a great run defense. Well, Jahmyr Gibbs had 15 attempts for 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, four receptions on 4 targets, and he had 32 fantasy points, right? So, right. Yeah, he's one of those guys, dude. Jahmyr Gibbs he's just really good. It's that game's not that, the total's not that high, Fresh. It's only 46.5. I mean, it's moved. They're actually, you are correct. They have the highest team total, but tied with the Bills at 28 points. But I don't know. I think it's the defense. The Denver defense kind of gives people a little bit of hold up, wait a minute kind of thing.
It's with Patrick Surtain. They're
I really think that's it right there. You just said it, Brad.
They have the personnel that can match up actually really well against sort of the scheme of the Ravens, and I think maybe that's what is kind of making people kind of go
I don't
away
disagree.
from.
I don't disagree with you at all. I disagree with you all. I mean, he's in DraftKings, he's less than 5% owned. I mean, it's just because they see that what the defense has done, that Denver defense, that's really what. And I mean, it's you're trying to get out from under that defense, and that's fine. That's fine. And now that he's got someone else to throw to, in Deontay Johnson, I don't know if that's the same, but at the end of the day, all of the Ravens players are not high owned because of that Denver defense. And if you're willing to take that risk, by all means, go right ahead. I mean, I thought that Carolina wasn't going to do shit against Denver's defense, and I played Denver's defense, and Carolina actually did something against them. So this could be that just momentum swing that Denver's defense is going the wrong direction. So, that's a great thought. But in this Lions and Packers game, I think the Lions take this. I think the Packers are just too beat up, and the Lions they've just got so much momentum, and I think that's what happens here. For sure.
I agree here as well. I just think the injuries on the Packers side are really starting to mount up, and when you're not able to practice with the team, hard to come out and kind of put together enough chemistry it takes against definitely a really strong Lions team. It's really brought a lot of momentum to the table. When you're able to run the ball effectively, like the Lions have been able to do over the last few weeks, that sets up everything. That sets up your play action game. You can really build everything off of that. And again, so this is why I really like that 47.5 point total here, more so for what the Lions have been able to do to drive in that point total than sort of what you see. But again, if you want to get a little different tomorrow, I mean, you can. I think you could try out a Romeo Doubs here, in this instance, because there will be opportunities. I think, given the fact that the Lions will score a bunch, that you're going to get some sort of garbage yards. There's the production has to go to someone here. I'm not necessarily sure about from the run game. I'm even worried for my own sake, being the Jacobs owner in fantasy league. But I do like the receivers a little bit here on the Packers.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like a lot of people. It's hard, you know how it is to get to those Green Bay wide receivers. You just got to pick and see. But I'm the guy that's always going to say, Jordan Reed. I mean, Jaden Reed is Jaden Reed, but Romeo Dobbs is who Jordan Love throws the ball to. I just see him, and then Kraft, right? So, I think Tucker Kraft might have a decent matchup.
Yes, I agree with
Like
that one as well.
decent.
A sneaky one, but
Even
definitely if you even in a season long perspective, maybe I think you might even, just because of the fact again that he may not necessarily score a lot of touchdowns, but he could walk away here, 5 for 75 or something like that, if it's just the way the matchup gets going.
It's just that, like I said, there's a lot of the Green Bay ownership is low because of the Detroit defense too. So it's just kind of like what freshest thoughts are with the Ravens. So that's but I think the Detroit Lions here. I think the true grit mentality that Dan Campbell has instilled there in Detroit is going to go through. I do think that they need to make a trade before Tuesday to get some help on the defensive line with Hutch being gone. But I think that's it. So I do want to play the video for everybody that
one more time for the people
that have not seen the video and they know what we're talking about. Let me see, where'd it go? Uh-oh.
It's on the way.
Yeah, I was trying. Well, if you guys don't know, we're giving away a signed Tyreek Hill jersey. The video is not one to pop up. So
100% authentic.
Authenticated through Beckett. All you have to do is answer a trivia question, be a follower, subscriber, on social media, be here at this time slot next week, and we will give it away. We'll ask the trivia question, and then the first person to answer it gets the jersey. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it's fully authenticated. It's sweet. And we want to give back to the fans and the followers. And it's week 10, number 10. So yeah,
10 and 10.
Yeah, definitely. And did you know,
we're
Brad,
excited to give that away? We're excited to give that one away. This is sort of our first big major giveaway. As a podcast, we're trying to do something a little bit different this year, brought to you by Pastoral Law Firms. Really trying to bring in the sponsorship side to it. My son got a chance to see it. He's excited for it. So again, this is 100% authentic jersey. We just want to give something to the people that's loyal listeners, followers, subscribers, because we really do appreciate the support that you guys bring. Just giving the commentary, the questions that come through. Again, we love all of that, and this is why we want to do it. We want to see you guys succeed, and try to give all the little wisdom that we have over the decade plus of doing fantasy sports and doing daily fantasy.
It's going down for real.
So that's it right there.
So check it out. Yep.
But I was thinking about this. I was thinking about stuff about Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Well, after Phil sent the picture of it, he got it. And he's like, it's coming back in the box. He's gonna ship it back to the people in the box. And I was thinking, I was just looking through like stuff about Tyreek Hill. Did you know he did not have in his college career, he did not have a position title. He was an ATH position, what I'm talking about, like just the athlete. He did not have an actual spot. Yes, just basically one of those when he was there with old Rudolph. So yeah, and so that was thought that was pretty crazy. But he's got a bowl win too. So the Cactus Bowl against Washington. So I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, so you guys just like, share, subscribe, push it out to everybody that you see. And like I said, join us next week and we will be giving it away.
Should be back to fully 100%, you know, DFS feel. For the people who are asking where the guy was earlier in the comment section. Again, he is out a little bit sick, but we should be back 100% staff for the giveaway. We're excited to do that. Again, for the loyal fans, you know, it's not too late to add in that like, that subscribe. Go ahead and add your name on that list.
Just be here.
You know, hey, if you're just here for the jersey, you're not hurting our feelings. You know, we still appreciate it either way. We just want to give you a little advice before you get it. That's all. Yeah,
and then we want to make sure you guys are winning. So, and if anybody's got any questions, real quick before we call it quits, you guys can drop them in the chat, and we will answer them. Hang around for 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we'll see what we got to do, and then hop out of here. Gotta go. We're gonna have dinner plans. So, yeah,
gotta schedule all in. You know?
Yeah,
I understand. It's all good.
Yeah, fresh. Just by the
good.
Hey, we appreciate you keeping the chat rolling. So we appreciate that for sure. You know that you always
always fresh.
Got good thoughts. So, but yeah, no,
keeps the debate lively.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're gonna have any more questions. So what we'll do is we will just call it quits for tonight. If you guys got questions, just drop them in the okay. No, I don't dislike it. I don't dislike it at all, because like I said, I just said from what I said about Carolina doing what they did to Denver's defense last week, Lamar's way better, right? And the Rashad Bateman, the fact that you're throwing Rashad Bateman in there, obviously everybody's going to be, if anybody, that's a generic person off the street. Oh, they just got Deontay Johnson. So let me just put my stack with Deontay Johnson when it should be Rashad Bateman in the first place. And then Mark Andrews, everybody was done with Mark Andrews. And it kept saying, just hang on. Just hang on. Hang on. And what has this dude done? What is it? 3 straight weeks with a touchdown, or at least 2 straight weeks with a touchdown. So I think Mark Andrews
coming eventually.
Yeah, for sure. I don't disagree with that at all.
Andrews.
And then of course you play FanDuel, so you're looking for those touchdowns, and you're looking for Lamar Jackson to get in the end zone. And if he does, that's great. That's great. That takes away from Patrick Surtain, right? So what's the best way to neutralize a cornerback that's good in defense? Don't throw the ball. Run the ball. So yeah.
All right.
Connor and Bijan. So yeah, I like that's not bad either. Like Bijan is, I was just saying he's a little bit chalky, but he might be some chalk you need to eat. So, and then Connor, I don't ever dislike James Conner. James Conner are going to get touchdowns, going to get in the end zone. They're going to feed him. So, but yeah. All right, Fresh. Well, we're going to hop out of here, and we will catch you guys on Wednesday. See you later.
Peace.